Let's talk about the B vitamin complex, and I'll let you handle if you want to go by one or just generally speak to the dangers of the synthetic versions of them.
Okay, well, I don't know if we had an opportunity so far in this series to talk about the B synthetics and how they're made, and we talked, I think, about coal tar. Now, the very coal tar that they have roads made out of, they actually make many of the B vitamins out of. And it's an offshoot or a waste or byproduct from the petrochemical industry. Versus practically every B vitamin can be found in sprouted whole grains. And that's where you should be getting it. Things like wheatgrass has B vitamins in it. And if you think about it, B vitamins, which were the very first nutrient isolated by Fletcher in 1905, were thought to be an isolated element, a solo element, but by the 1940s we realized was a complex. The one mistake they made with that is we didn't really have a full understanding of what a probiotic or healthy bacteria was, so we placed B12 into the B category. And it's really not a B vitamin in its traditional sense. B12 is literally a bacteria that you find in soil. And that should be isolated or removed from that, but often you'll see in even a whole food variety, a living form of B complex, the B12 placed in there. That won't hurt you in a living form, but everyone does need B12. On a daily basis, 100% of the population, you, your children, your friends, your family, all should be on B12, a bacterial form. Now that presents a problem because only 2 or 3% on the market globally are bacterial forms. The rest are chemicals, and of course, it's been written over the decades that the bacterial form, the cybolamines, are not as effective as the methyls. And the truth of the matter is, why they tell you that is because the methyls are produced by the chemical industry, and they want to sell it to you. And so watch yourself on that one. It's extremely important to understand that. Now, to top it all off, what the B vitamins do if you don't have them is that you're going to end up with a nervous system problem. It's for production of the cells, for your cardiovascular health, etc. If you're taking the synthetic forms of these, they are so dangerous for the very things that they help. So ironically, the things that are supposed to be helping you, and they will help you if you take it either from food or whole food form, are going to turn around and hurt the things it would help if it's a chemical form. Now, that should make sense to you if you want to understand reverse order or mathematical disparity, where basically on one end of the pole and the other end of the pole, you have opposite results. And that's what you see with a lot of these chemical supplementations. You see things as an example that when they fortify breads, and then they look at the population of people who eat the fortified breads, there's a much higher incidence in heart attacks and strokes with those people. And when I was a boy growing up, we had a bread called Wonder Bread, and now I wonder why they even called it a bread. And basically it was a big giant loaf of white fluffy powder that they put together like a glue, and basically it was all fortified. 100% fortified with chemical supplements. And when you start to look at these things, you start to say, my God, how did they ever mislead us to a point where we started to think that something that was neutral and neutered like that was a natural thing to eat? And how did we develop a taste for that? Well, I guess you can develop a taste for anything if you take it long enough and keep being told that it's going to help you or it's a good thing for you. So the B vitamins are very, very important. Folic acid, that became a big hit, as you recall, about 10 years ago. And what we found is birth defects from folic acid. The research we've done here on B12, you lose memory. You can increase Alzheimer's disease if you don't have the B12. And if you have, for instance, biotin, biotin is so essentially important where we see it helps to create strong hair and nails and skin. And a lot of people out there who have, dry hair and split hair, etc., you have a biotin deficiency. And you start to look at things like B5. And B5 is a cofactor to make other nutrients in the body work. And one of the things that is lacking if you don't have enough of B5 is cholesterol regulation. So every once in a while we may see even a person who's a vegan who isn't eating animal fat or isn't eating coconut oil and making their cholesterol go up, but they still have a higher cholesterol. Almost 100% of the time I supplement them with a whole food variety of B6, or in most cases get them to eat more of a particular form of sprouted grain, and we end up with broccoli sprouts in their diet and sprouted sweet potatoes and all the cabbage sprouts, etc. And practically overnight, all those problems go away. Niacin about 20 years ago was a nutrient that they were shining the light on. And again, every 3 years or so, they put a new superstar up to sell it to you, to get it into the consciousness of the public, as vitamin D is right now. And if you see, for instance, a deficiency in niacin, circulatory activity doesn't happen. Also, a lot of people who have niacin deficiencies don't have any appetite. Their digestion is impaired. They can't feel senses. The end of their toes or feet or fingers, or even hearing is impaired if you don't have enough niacin. So these are all very, very important, but again, most of us can get it from consuming sprouted grains. And then, of course, if we're under a lot of stress, which most people are today, you want to find a whole food variety of these complex. Everyone out there, B12 is a necessity.